What's up, guys? Dylan with Double Shots alongside with my dad over there.
Yo.
And today, last time that we did a bracket prediction, we did it over the NCAA tournament.
He had a lot of exits first round. But he had a lot of good picks. I had a good pick, unfortunately, and they blew it.
And, so this time, now we're going to do for the Stanley Cup playoffs prediction, because we do post a lot of hockey content. So why not give out a Stanley Cup playoff prediction? But before we go any further, if you guys like our content, subscribe down below this video. Give this video a like. Comment if you want to see something else. My dad will kick us off.
And also comment, let us know who you think is going to win the Stanley Cup as well, too. So we're going to do it. Here's how we're going to do everything. We're going to go in the order that it is. Toronto and Montreal are playing. Edmonton and Winnipeg are playing. Carolina and Nashville are playing. Then you have Florida and Tampa Bay. Then you have Pittsburgh, New York, Washington and Boston playing, Colorado and St. Louis, Vegas and Minnesota. So we're going to break it down. Each of us are going to give our predictions off of each team, going down identically and going from there. So when it kicks off to Toronto and Montreal, my prediction on who's going to advance to the second round would be Toronto. Who do you pick to go ahead and advance between Toronto and Montreal?
I think it's going to go down 7 games, and I think Montreal's going to go. Oh, not Montreal, Toronto. My bad.
Oh, wow. You got Toronto. So Dylan and I are for once agreement a little bit here. Then when we get down to Edmonton and Winnipeg, I think that's going to be a very good series. I think a lot of these series are going to be very, very good. All for how they're matched up and everything. Edmonton versus Winnipeg. I think Edmonton has a great team. No offense. I think Winnipeg, though, will get the advantage. And I think that will be a upset. I think Winnipeg wins in 6 games.
You know what?
Advances to play Toronto.
It is going to be it's going to be a good series, but I think Edmonton's probably going to go on to the second round.
Okay. That's perfectly fine. Carolina, Nashville. Usually, this is some area. Nashville usually has great playoff experience, people. Carolina, those are one of those teams that are hit and miss out here. I'm actually really happy with what they've been able to do this year. I really do. I think they've done great. Yeah, they are a first-place team. I think they play with their heart. I think they go on to the second round and advance. So I'm picking Carolina to beat Nashville.
I think it's going to be Nashville that advances. It's probably going to be maybe 6 games, but I think Nashville is going on.
Then you have Florida and Tampa Bay. And this is one of mine that I really had to think a lot of. Florida is the better team on record for the year. Tampa Bay has very good playoff experience. Yeah, they have had great years that they've fallen flat, and every team has had that before in the past. And I try to put past the whole thing of not every season is alike. However, I think Tampa Bay being that team that, they won the Stanley Cup last season, so they're hungry they want to be able to repeat. They have a great, solid team. They really do. I think they are going to beat Florida and advance to the second round. So it would be, in my bracket, it would be Carolina and Tampa Bay playing in the second round.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Tampa Bay is still, the better team. So, after winning that Stanley Cup in 2020, I think they're still playing how they were playing back in 2020. So, in my opinion, it's going to be Tampa Bay.
All right, now let's go on to the next side of the board. Pittsburgh versus New York. This one I gave a lot of thought. Pittsburgh, I think they want to get out there. They're ambitious. I think they're going to go out there, and I think they are going to advance to the second round. What's your prediction on that?
My prediction, I think it's going to be New York.
You think New York? You think it's going to be? You think New York's going to? And it's okay to have that. New York. That would be a spoiler update because Pittsburgh's the better team. So let's keep an eye on and see if Dylan's bracket's more accurate than mine off of that one. And it could be New York. I'm going with Pittsburgh off of that. I do. I think they're the better team. However, again, everybody's entitled to their opinion. That's understandable. Now, Washington and Boston. This is one of those series that Washington is actually in the lead right now. They won in overtime last night, I believe.
Yes.
They did. They won in overtime last night. But Tuukka Rask, I do. There's that side of me that does say Washington's going to advance. However, Boston, I like them in playoffs. Odds with them. They're a team that can make a game. They can make it go 7 games and win it. They have very good momentum out there. I'm going to go with Boston going to play Pittsburgh in the second round. What's your take?
All right, my prediction, it's going to be for Washington and Boston. You know what? I'm going for Washington.
Okay.
I think Washington is going to the second round. I think it's probably going to be a battle to see who's going to go. I think it's going to probably go 6 or 7 games.
And then we go to the Colorado versus St. Louis. Oh, what a game. What everything. St. Louis needed that momentum winning games. And I'm gonna comment a little bit on this because St. Louis, this is where everything kind of goes a little bit, so I'm going to elaborate a little bit on it. St. Louis showed great strength up. Yeah, they did have a lot of injury. They did have a lot of things going on early there that kind of made them look bad. Now, for anybody that's out there that's saying, oh, this is the exact thing that they did when they won the Stanley Cup, no, this is not the exact same thing that they did when they won the Stanley Cup. Binnington statistically has not been what he was, and keep in mind they were horrible the year that they went to the Stanley Cup. They did come back in. Who would have ever known Jordan Binnington and where they kind of went from? I don't think it was a fluke. They really wanted to get that win. I do. I think St. Louis really fought hard to go ahead and do that. Now, keep in mind, then you have the 2020 Stanley Cup playoffs. They fell flat. I mean, and yeah, now we get into the blame of COVID years. And going from there, it wasn't really a playoff. It was a playoff, people. And that's where I kind of come from, fan base-wise, and going from there. This team is nothing identical to what people want to compare it to. They do. When they're on a streak of winning, I think they have that momentum. Now, keep in mind, I mean, they played Minnesota two games, and they had very good games against the Wild. They played the Avalanche, and they had very good games against them. Now, here's the thing about it. Was it the Avalanche playing it because they already knew they were in the playoffs? Was it the Avalanche playing because they already knew between them, Vegas, and Minnesota, they already had a clear shot at the playoffs? The Blues were fighting in for those playoffs. So were those games just kind of those last few games that they had on the season, were those games St. Louis truly legitimately can repeat and show in the playoffs they can do the same thing? Or is it something that was, okay, well, we did this so that way they use a lot more energy. They think they have the momentum. We are already, clinched going from there. I'm one of those people that if you're fighting to win games, you go out there, you want that momentum, you want to be able to go out there and continue that momentum. Now, Colorado has a great team out there, guys. They do. They have a very, very good team. And you've probably heard me say it before. I'd like to see Vegas or Colorado win the whole thing. I got to give credit where it's due, where they're playing, and going from there. Now, that being said, I do still think the Blues are losing Perron to COVID protocol. That's going to be a big blow for the Blues right there. And now everybody's saying, oh, well, they did it without Tarasenko. Let's not compare 2019's Stanley Cup to 2021 Stanley Cup Finals. I think every year is different. Play is different going from there. If I have to put a number on it, I still think it's going to be a great series. I really do. I just don't think the Blues are going to have that passion, heart. One of those things that momentum breaks is when they do start losing. That's where they just rapidly drop. I think Colorado's going to come out early in that series, and they've really got to steal that momentum that the Blues are carrying off from winning their last couple games of the season to put them in a strong place. That being said, they have held up very well against Colorado. I think it goes 6 games, but I do think Colorado is going to advance in that. And the only reason I'm elaborating a little bit more on that, because that's part of the hometown thing for us, kind of there. St. Louis market and everything. I do give credit where it's due. I just don't like the excuses that are starting to come out of, oh, well, the refs, stuff like that. Refs are human, make errors, but pick up from the mistakes and let's not start the blame game before the whole thing starts. Being on Facebook channels, that's what I'm seeing right now and everything. And it's one of those things of, I don't like to use the excuse. Yeah, you can blame referees for everything, but it's the gameplay in play that really counts to be able to do it. That being said, besides all that, I still do. I think it's a hard-fought series. I think it's going to go 6. It possibly even could go 7 games. I'll actually change that to 7 games, but Colorado wins it, essentially moves on to the second round.
How the Blues were playing this season, half the time they're on losing streaks. The longest losing streak was like 7 games.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is a real long losing streak. Well, I wouldn't say real long, but it's long. It's a long losing streak. You know what? I think the Colorado and St. Louis, I think it's going 5 to 6 games, and I think Colorado is going to top off the Blues.
Then we go down to Vegas and Minnesota. This is another series. This is one that I have had a lot of thought on and everything, and it really does. It comes down a lot in mind with everything between Vegas and Minnesota. They're both great teams. They both have great goaltenders. We know that for a fact. Both teams are going to come out with a lot of intensity going from there. Between Colorado, if you take Colorado, Vegas, and Minnesota, I think those are 3 top teams right there that are really hard to put in position. Anybody that has to go and play that. That being said, I think Vegas really wants to come out. They want to get strong. They want to come out and take that. I think Vegas wins that series against Minnesota.
You know what? I think Vegas will win that series as well.
All right, so now we're going to go on to our second round, to our third round predicts and everything. I had Toronto facing Winnipeg. And out of that whole series that's going on, that Winnipeg's a great team. I think Toronto's got a great team. I really do. I think Toronto has really done a lot. They've made a lot of progress. I have Toronto going to the third round.
You know what? I agree with you. I think it's...
But you had Toronto playing Edmonton, didn't you?
Yeah. So it's going to be... Either or, it's going to be still Toronto. I think Toronto has a better team. So Toronto, you're moving on to the... they don't have conference finals, if I do. I'm pretty sure they do this year.
Yeah.
But they kind of switch things around. So you know what? I'll still just say the conference finals. But Toronto, you're moving on to the third round.
And then I had Carolina going to play against Tampa Bay in the second round. I think that's going to be one of those surprise shockers. Carolina is a great team, guys, but in the end, I think it's going to come down to experience in that. Tampa Bay has that experience. They know the fuel to fire to go ahead and be able to advance. I think they're going to play. I think it's going to go 7 games in that series between Carolina and Tampa Bay in my picks, but essentially Tampa Bay is going to move on to the third round of the playoffs.
You know what? Nashville and Tampa Bay, I'm already telling this right now that it's going to be Tampa Bay moving on against Toronto. So now let's move on to the other side of the bracket.
All right. So I picked Pittsburgh and Boston to go ahead and play in my second round to go from there. Unfortunately, one team has to leave. Both teams are very, very good. Essentially, in the end, I think Pittsburgh outduels Boston in 7 games. I'm predicting it 7 games. That's going to be a good series. I hope to. I really do. Great goaltending, great offense and defense for both two teams. But essentially, Pittsburgh, you are going to advance. That is what I think into the third round.
All right. New York versus Washington. I'm calling Washington advances to the third round.
Okay.
Against New York.
Mm-hmm. And then I put Colorado versus Vegas, correct?
Yeah.
Now, that, again, I think that's going to be a very, very good series, guys. I really do. I think that's going to be a highlight series. I think a lot of people are going to be watching that. And that's if it pans out to be Colorado versus Vegas the prediction, or what Dylan predicted. He predicted Colorado and Vegas too. Essentially, I think it's going to come down to a 7-game series once again. I think there's... And I'm not trying to just say, oh, every game's going to 7 games. I think there's going to be a lot of great hockey being played here for the playoffs this year, especially with them getting into crowds, being able to have them in and go from there. It's going to give a little bit of a momentum shift. However, I think in 7 games, I think Vegas is going to advance to play Pittsburgh in my bracket in the 3rd round, which is the semifinals after that.
I also call Vegas moving on to the 3rd round, or like I said, what I like to call it, the conference finals. So now we're moving on to the conference finals. Winner moves on to Stanley Cup.
Wouldn't you just call it semifinals?
Well, yeah, semifinals.
Whatever you want to call it.
The semifinals.
Now, I had Toronto and Tampa advancing in my bracket. This is great. This is 2 great teams. Very, very good teams. However, I think the ultimate edge of everything, Tampa Bay, again, I give them credit. I just don't think they're ready for a repeat Stanley Cup championship. So that is why I am going with Toronto to move on to the Stanley Cup finals.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think they're going to... Like you said, I don't think they're going to get... I don't think they're ready for a repeat. So that's why I also say Toronto's moving on to the Stanley Cup finals.
And then when you have Pittsburgh and Vegas, that's who I have in my bracket right here. Pittsburgh and Vegas playing. I think it's going to be a great series. Goaltending, offense, defense, I think they're all going to come out. Pittsburgh's hungry for it. Vegas is really hungry for it. Vegas really wants to show their fans that they can make it all the way, win it all. And that's what they want to be able to do going from there. So I think this year, Vegas goes into the Stanley Cup finals.
Yeah. I chose basically Vegas and Washington, which basically, if you can name off the last time Vegas and Washington faced off in a playoff series, that was basically the 2018 Stanley Cup Finals. We all know how that one went. The Washington Capitals won the Stanley Cup, but this is not the Stanley Cup Finals for Vegas and Washington in the semifinals. This time, Vegas will prevail, and they will move on to the Stanley Cup Finals.
And then I have Toronto, which brings us to Toronto and Vegas. I think it's going to be a great Stanley Cup final. I think it's going to be hard fought. You're going to see both offenses, defenses, goaltending really out there. A lot of good shots. I think they're going to make it. I'd like to see it go 7 games. I really would. I think both teams have very, very good opportunity here. However, I think the goaltending on Vegas has just been solid, top-notch this year. Outside of things, I think they are ready to get that first ever cup. And I think essentially who wins it in 7 games this year is the Vegas Golden Knights.
All right. I think it's also going maybe 6-7 games, but I choose Toronto to win their 14th Stanley Cup in franchise history.
Did you really?
Yep, Toronto.
Wow. So pretty much across the board, even though we had some different picks, we both had Toronto going and Vegas going into the Stanley Cup. But Dylan picks Toronto to win it. I pick Vegas to win it. So let's see who's going to have the better outright bragging rights to this and everything. We'll save this and we'll keep it along the way and go from there. Again, comment below who you think is going to win the Stanley Cup, what your prediction, how it's going to go from there.
And also, comment it below if you think we should do the NBA bracket challenge, because the playoffs will start this Saturday, May the 22nd. So, that's another playoff that's getting ready to start.
Yeah, we can do another playoff bracket over that. I think we can do that and everything. So if you guys want to see that, just comment below. If you like our content, subscribe to our channel. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you enjoyed listening to us let you guys know who we think is going to win the Stanley Cup. Best of luck to all the teams out there. It's going to be a great, I think it's going to be a great season for everybody, or great playoff for everybody. Good luck to all the teams, and we will see you at the next video, guys.